Okay, no efforts should be spared in endangering national unity, cohesion, and effective leadership badly needed in our country, Nigeria. So when some youths decided to float a movement, We Together Nigeria, to foster togetherness and competent leadership for a viable Nigeria, many citizens embraced it, spearheaded by the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Ibrahim Hussein Abdulkarim, and the national coordinator, Shina Peller. We Together branches have been launched in the 6 geopolitical zones and many states across the country. Jide, what's this all about?
No, the whole idea is to mobilize young people to recognize the pivotal role that they are to play in nation building and even elective positions. Young people have much greater power than they realize. But a lot of our young people are too apolitical. They do not even give a hoot about Nigeria
At all.
They don't care. They think that the country has been unfair to them. Therefore, they don't care. They want to do their thing the way they want. And these energies can be channeled more positively, towards helping to solve the multiple problems facing us as a nation. So it's not easy to mobilize people. Therefore, I will give kudos to Shina Peller and his friends who have come together to mobilize young people and to make them more useful to their country in many areas.
This kind of efforts is something that is laudable.
Yeah, I think it's a very impressive project. If you look at the fact that the youths have a lot of potentials, about 60%, close to 60% of the population of Nigeria are less than 30 years old. So it means that if the younger people are organized, they can actually create the kind of change that we want. And if you look at our history, younger people have made great impact. Shebe wrote Things Fall Apart when he was 28 years. Enahoro at 30 years raised the first motion for independence in 1953. And even Awu, when he left the Western region in 1959, he was already 50 years old. He had achieved almost everything. In 1952, when he was far less than 50, he was already prime minister. And Gowon became the head of state at 32. So even the current president, he was head of state in 1983 at the age of 41, President Buhari. So the youths, should realize that, because by the time you are 60, ordinarily all over the world, you are supposed to be thinking of retirement and then be looking up to to eat the labor of your years past. It's only in Nigeria that at 60, people are still looking for American visa, they are still looking for Canadian visa, they want to go and take their family abroad, they are still writing application looking for jobs. So the younger people need to seize their destiny with their own hands. And I think it is doable. They need to be organized, they need to have a purpose, a philosophy, a vision that can galvanize the potential that is inherent in their population. So I really commend the efforts of these people. And they must make sure that it is not hijacked by vested interests. That one is very important.
I think our youths, they're not playing to their strength. As in, if going by the statistics is just give now, and if 60%, we have a young population, and they're not pulling their strength at all.
No, it's not entirely their fault. Politically, things have been so skewed in favor of the older generation. And you see even efforts made by young people sometimes get frustrated because they don't have the funding. But if they come together, they have the number, and that is a strength. But we need to support them in every way possible. For example, the Not Too Young to Run law was meant to encourage young people to get involved in elective positions. But if we now come up with this kind of money that they are paying for forms, how many of those young people will be able to even take part in primaries of the dominant parties? So I think that ultimately young people need to even form their own parties, and exploit the strength that they have. But there is also so much mistrust amongst them, as we saw during the NSAS thing. They didn't trust one another, and there was no leadership. So there is a long way to go to making our young people realize that, look, they have this strength that they are not exploiting,
I have the chairman of the Board of Trustees of WE2GEDA, Ibrahim Hussein Abdulkarim, joins us via Zoom for more insights on this. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you for having me.
Tell us about WE2GEDA projects. What are those things, your aims and objectives?
Yeah, thank you very much. The first thing that bring us to come together, as the name we said, the WE2GEDA, is that after the 2019 election, seeing that there is a lot of problem, not only for the young Nigerians, but major problems to the entire nation. Everybody is not happy with the direction we are going. The lack of innovation in the system, lack of leaders that are solving problem. And we do a small analysis to see from 1999 to date, how many problems that we have by 1999, and they are not problems today. And we realize that almost all the problems we have by 1999 today, that are still the problem we are facing, from ASU strike to the lack of electricity to the fuel queues at the fuel stations and things like that. So we realize that the system is not working for anybody. It's not working, more especially it's against the young generation. And after the not too young to run bill, we thought that it's going to be a very welcome system for us, for some of us to be a part of the system. But at the later stage, after the 2019 election, we have seen what happened. So we already envisaged that a more trouble will come to us by 2023. So we started these meetings. We started to put up a strategic document for almost getting to 2 years. So we have Zoom meetings. We sit with some of our friends from Europe, from the America and other places to now see why is democracy working in other places as not working and giving us the dividend here in Nigeria. So we realize that the mistake we are having is that we are not being part of the system. And as for example, for Nigeria, we don't have citizens because our citizens create a nation. We are just a country. We are not yet united together. We are not feeding ourselves. We are not trying to push ourselves. And then when we look at the document for our founding fathers, we realize that our founding fathers decided to create Nigeria that works for everybody, not only work for the few. And also they tried to create a Nigeria that works for Africa, entire Africa. So on that note, we said, okay, let's sit down and now itemize and see what it is. So the first thing we take off is that let's see the WE2GEDA. How are we going to bring young Nigerians together, irrespective of tribe, religion, political class, or party, so that at least we can join our hands together and say, okay, you can be on any party you want to be, but let Nigeria be the first thing you want to do. So let's go again to the core problem. And the core problem, we realize that the value of Nigerian life is very low, because we now realize all the infrastructure we are talking about is all about the value of human life. If we believe in Nigerian life to have value, we provide education, we provide hospitals, we provide road, we provide sanity in the system, we provide judicial system. So that means if we want to start to move as a new Nigeria, first thing first, we have to realize that we are human beings. We are here together, and we can only come together not just to solve the problem for Nigeria, but to solve the problem for the whole Africa, because we are pulling the whole Africa down, and everybody is looking up to us. And then when we realize that we have to put people to contest, and then look at how they block us with all these prizes of form and things like that, and we say, no, don't worry, get yourself a form in any smaller party, because after the candidate, we already have a group that we call it. Well, first and first, that we have gone around the nation to 6 geopolitical zones. We sell to the young people what we are trying to do. We are live on NTA between March and February and March. We now realize that, okay, if a lot of young Nigerians want to participate, but they don't have the money to participate, we say, okay, let's crowdfund ourselves. Let's see how we are going to make sure that we push some of us into the system. But seeing what happening in the bigger parties and also how we've been ridiculed as the young Nigerians, we say, okay, don't worry, we are going to have our own unity list. So immediately after the candidate selection and everything from the parties, then we sit down, we put up our candidate selection criteria. We go to the churches, we go to the mosques, we go to the all concerned Nigerians, and we tell them, this is the list that we want to go to National Assembly, this is the list we want to go to State Assembly, these are the list we want to go, based on a criteria of who are those people, what is their antecedent, what's their source of funding, how many talks did they carry during their campaign, what are they saying to Nigerians? This is what we want to do. I'm also calling all other groups, because we've been going around also meeting the other groups. Like, for example, in Lagos and other places, we meet the other groups. We said, we can do NSAS and just leave it like that. We can do scale not and just leave it like that. We need people to go into, even those that come to your TV station, for example, and talk about constitutional review. You can't all have that if we don't have representation. So what we intend to do and what we're doing in WE2GEDA is now we're bringing our leadership all across, but we want everybody to go to and work at the ward level. We want to have 250 of us in every ward level.
I'll thank you, the chairman and board of trustees of WE2GEDA, Ibrahim Hussein. I want to thank you for your intervention. We'll talk to you some other time.